Welcome to True Vine Talks with Rachel and Linda. We're back again to talk about some counseling topics that, might be helpful to you in your personal life or in your work life. And what is that topic, Miss Rachel?
Boundaries. Setting and maintaining healthy boundaries.
Yeah. So what is a boundary?
Yeah, so I think a lot of times when I ask people that, they'll, the kids that I work with will say like a fence or a wall, right? So boundaries in relationships are, being able to say no when you're not comfortable with something.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah. So I like your kids' analogy of like a fence or like a gate. So sometimes when I work with clients and, they just seem overwhelmed or stressed out, weighed down. And, I get to talking to them and, they've been, doing all these things for others. Like, their friend calls them up last minute and says they want to go to a yard sale. Well, they had planned on just like chilling that day. And they dropped what they were going to do. They go to the friend of the yard sale, but that wasn't really what they wanted to do. Mom calls. She's on the phone with them for an hour. Didn't plan on that. And couldn't say no, and then, their neighbor calls and says, hey, can you come help me move this couch out? And they go over there and do that. And then by the end of the day, they're just stressed, worn out, and exhausted.
Yeah, because they've done what everyone else wanted them to do.
Yeah.
And not what they wanted to do for themselves.
Yeah. So that's a boundary issue. And it's, it's hard to say no when you want to please others.
Yeah, it is.
And be there for them. So even though we talk about in emotionally focused therapy about, hey, how can I be there for you? I want to be there for you. How's that different than someone calling you up and saying, hey, I need you to drop what you're doing and come help me do this right now? What's the difference, do you think?
I want to be there for you versus, hey, come help me.
Yeah, drop whatever you were doing today. Come on, Rachel. Let's go give donuts out today. And advertise for True Vine.
Oh, okay. So a healthy boundary example of that would be like, hey, I would love to help you, but I kind of had plans to do this already. So I hope that you can find somebody else. And
no, Rachel.
I'm more than welcome to help you on this day.
No, Rachel, it's happening today. I need you today.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't feel like that's a healthy expectation in a relationship for a friend to just expect you to drop everything for them. I think that's the difference. I think the EFT stuff that we practice, of course I need you, is mutual.
Yeah.
Where this is kind of more one-sided.
Very good distinction. Yeah. I like that. So in a healthy bond, the interactions are, I'm going to be here for you and you're going to show up for me.
Yeah.
In a negative boundary or in a negative expectation, the person say, drop what you're doing now, show up right now, I need you right now. And so, because if you're a people pleaser, you're going to say yes. You're going to show up for them. What's happening for you on the inside? And you just go ahead and do it.
You're probably going to be in a negative mood. You're not taking time to practice your self-care like you were originally planning. Just have a chill day to yourself. And then that's going to, float into, if it's Sunday and that's your last day of the weekend and you're going to work tomorrow, you're probably going to be, not as into work. Have some negative interactions with coworkers maybe.
Yeah.
It's going to spew into other areas of your life.
I like that word, spew into other areas of your life. Yeah. And then when they come to us and they're worn out, exhausted, tapped out, maxed out, physically exhausted, mentally drained, that's usually an indication that they need to start asserting the word no in their closest relationships.
Yes. Which
Yeah.
is super scary for some people.
Yeah. And how come it becomes scary to do that?
I think we naturally want people to like us. You know, we want to maintain positive friendships. And so I think people, when they even think about telling someone no, they get overwhelmed with guilt. It's they're worried that they're going to hurt this person's feelings or upset them in some way.
Yeah, well stated. So when someone feels guilt and they do an act for you, is that a true act for you?
Yeah, good question. Are you doing it because you genuinely want to help,
Yeah.
or you feel obligated?
Yeah. And did the other
Pressure.
person use guilt and shame to have me act for them on their behalf? So they call me up, oh, I gotta move this thing today. I need you to come over and help me. And, you know, I've always showed up for you, and you really need to show up for me today. And if you don't, I'm not gonna have this done, and I'm gonna feel, you know, overwhelmed because I have to do it myself. And this is really hard on me. And if they start playing that,
Wow. Yeah.
oh yeah,
Guilt trip.
psychological warfare.
Exactly.
So then you start feeling on the other end, on the other line, you start feeling, oh my gosh, I'm really going to let this person down. And I feel so much shame right now about not showing up for them. I've got to really do something about this shame. I got to get rid of it. And so then you go over and you do it from a place of shame. Then
Your heart's not in it. You're just trying to prove that you're a good person.
yeah. Or
To
get
yourself or
Yeah.
them or both.
or get rid of shame and guilt. Yeah. So if you're doing something for someone out of shame and guilt, it's not real or genuine.
No.
It's a boundary issue. You and that person have a boundary issue.
Yeah.
They're guilting you to do something for them that they just want you to do for them. And like you just said so eloquently, in EFT, it's a mutual bond. I'm going to be there for you, and you're going to be there for me when I need you.
I scratch your back, you scratch mine.
Yeah. And and it's not so much a social exchange as it's a heart-to-heart exchange.
Yeah.
You know, I long for you to be there for me. I need you to show up for me. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. You're a safe person that I know I can rely and depend on.
Yeah, I can trust
When no
you.
one else is there.
Yeah. So a boundary issue looks very different, doesn't it? Than,
Yes.
say, like a negative cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we're telling our clients to start having healthy boundaries with others, what would that look like? Give me some examples, what that might look like, excuse me, in their daily life.
It might look like saying no to people.
Yeah.
It might also look like scheduling time with people. So if you have someone that likes to just show up or calls you 3 times a day and you don't have time to stop what you're doing, to interact with this person, you set a boundary like, hey, why don't I call you, let's chat on Mondays when I get off work at 4. And then, you have that time as scheduled time and they're not just popping in all the time.
Yeah, because if they're popping in all the time, what happens to you? You start to feel what word for them? Resentment?
Yeah, I was going to use that, but I didn't know if it was too harsh. Thank you. Got some validation from Linda just now.
Yeah.
Yeah, resentment. And, you know,
Mm-hmm.
just annoyed and
Yeah.
feeling maybe overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I like to help clients set boundaries by drawing them a playground. I like to, design a playground for them. And I may have showed you that
you
example.
have. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so I draw a playground for them and say, you know what? What are your innermost, deepest values? What do you care about? And they'll say, family. Okay, so you want family on your playground. So let's put family on your playground. And as we talk about this, I'm drawing it, just, helps me to clarify what I'm trying to say here. And so on the playground, you want your family. Who else do you want? They might list names of those people that matter the most to them.
Yeah, close friends.
Mm-hmm. They might list their job as important to them. They might list God as important to them. Just several things. I'm like, okay, so help me understand, what are the things you don't want in your life? Yeah.
Like say drama,
Yes.
arguments.
Mm-hmm.
Fake friends.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'll list things like, do you want drugs on your playground? They're like, no, definitely drugs outside my playground, because most people don't want drugs on their playground. And so then they've kind of defined what matters to them and what they don't want in their life. And so what does the fence kind of represent here?
Yeah, that's the boundary.
Yeah, that's right. So if I'm interacting with someone who does drugs, dramatic, fake, steals from people, I open my gate and I let that person in on my playground, what's happening to my values?
They're getting all disrupted.
Yeah. And that's going to make me feel
Resentment with that person, for sure.
Yeah. So, go ahead.
So this is where I think gets very complicated for people when they have someone who's been a good friend or a family member who is struggling with addiction. To set boundaries with that person.
Yeah. That's
right?
true.
Because they want them so badly to be, in their playground, in their life.
Absolutely.
But they don't want the, stealing from them, drugs in their home, lies, drama,
Yeah.
and chaos that disrupts the rest of their life.
Good example. But they still love them and care for them and value them as a person. So that is where it gets a little gray and sticky.
Mm-hmm.
So how might you set a boundary with someone you love who brings all these things to your world?
So complicated, because I'm thinking of like a severe situation where this person is homeless and they're asking if they can come and crash your couch, but you've done that before in the past and they stayed for 6 months. It's like,
And got back on the drug while at your house.
yeah, so
And the dope guy came to your house,
right,
which made your kids unsafe.
yeah,
Caused some confusion between you and your husband because you let him
cops
crash.
showed up.
Mhm.
Just imagine the worst case scenario. But you don't want to give up on that person because everybody else in their life has.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
But your spouse won't let you give them any more money to get their own place.
Right.
So what do you do?
That's the hard part. you know, and helping your client understand, you know, you can bring them onto your playground, meaning your life, your home, your territory. And when you do that, you are going to forfeit the things you care about, your deepest values, because that's going to disrupt that part of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Are you willing to do that? If they say, yeah, I'm willing to sacrifice my friends, my good friends, my family, my spouse, my kids, my religion, whatever that is, I'm willing to sacrifice all that to help this one person.
Wow.
It's,
So you just let them know, okay, you're now putting one person
Mhm.
before everything that matters to you.
yeah,
Okay.
that's pretty much being a martyr.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
know, if you come and you're sharing how hard it is for you and what's happening for you, you might validate, oh my goodness, you love this person so much. You're willing to give up everything for that person to be on your playground, to safeguard him. Yeah? And then you might say, so what happens in 6 months when all the things you care about leave, and then you have this one person there, and they're still doing the thing that you don't care about, which is maybe it's drugs, maybe it's sleeping around, I don't know. Maybe it's whatever,
Yeah.
stealing. So you're going to allow yourself to lose yourself to this one person? I'm thinking of Eminem, lose yourself. Lose yourself to the music. No, you're losing yourself to another person. And you're going to, then what you said, the resentment's going to show up, and eventually what's going to happen?
Yeah. You have nothing left.
Mm-hmm. And then you're going to feel what?
Like you've lost yourself alone, and yeah.
Alone, yes. And when people feel alone, they feel what emotion?
Sad, depressed.
Yes. And of course, they come to us.
Yeah.
And they share how they love this person to the point that they lost all their deepest, most inner values for their own life. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And this happens in couples too. I mean, I know we advocate repair and all that, but remember, a contraindicator to doing emotionally focused family or couples therapy is if there's abuse happening.
Mm-hmm.
That's verbal, physical, emotional, that type of thing. And this is a form of abuse to not be able to say no to someone.
Ooh, I never thought about it like that. That's so true.
Mm-hmm. You're allowing it, but it is emotional abuse, you know,
Yeah.
to not be able to say no to someone for your own needs. Yeah. So Jordan Peterson would say, you know, don't be so agreeable.
Mm-hmm.
Stand up tall, have a spine, and, you know, if what that person's sharing with you or what they're asking of you contradicts your inner, deepest, most values, look at them and be not agreeable. Look them in the eyes and say, no, you can't come over and crash my couch because then my husband's going to be mad. My kids are going to see you using drugs, and I just, my religion's important, and that doesn't believe in drugs, and my job's important, and my finances need to be intact.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you no. I'm not going to agree with, you know, this bond or this, not bond, but this arrangement that brings me and everyone around me down. Those that I care about. Even though I care about you.
Yeah. The risks are greater than the reward.
Yeah. Especially if it doesn't pay off. if you see that person doing the same thing, irregardless of your love and care, two things are true. What are they?
Sometimes you can care about someone, with everything you've got, but if that person's not willing to kind of take responsibility and do what they need to do to change, all the love in the world won't change them.
That's right. So that's what we know about that person is all the love I do for you isn't going to change what you're doing. And if you don't own some of that, I can't really be there for you. Hey, I might be able to sponsor putting you in a recovery house and sending you money for food there, but I'm not equipped to help you in my home. Yeah. So that's you safeguarding your values and keeping the bad stuff out, but still caring for the individual who needs help. Yeah. So what other parts in boundaries kind of...
What about like in a work situation? I think a lot of people are very good at what they do. And it seems like those people get more work thrown their way because they can handle it, So it's like, oh, hey, you get stuff done so fast, you're so on top of it. Would you mind doing this too? And oh, hey, how about this? And I want you to represent us because you're so professional at this, meeting or whatever. So, and people can't say no, and they're honored that, people are valuing them and seeing the good that they're doing, but they're also becoming overwhelmed because you can only handle so much.
Yeah. So what's happening is they're putting more on you because you are capable of doing the job. So that's called the law of consistency. And we want to be consistent with how others view us. So they're going to use that against me. Oh, Miss Rachel, you do such a good job with the kids. Could you take on an extra group on a Friday night for us? They love you, Rachel. They do such good work for you. Yeah? So you're hearing, oh my gosh, I am so good with them. I want to be consistent with what my employer thinks about me, so I must do this. So they're really using some psychology on you, the law of consistency. And to combat that is, oh my goodness, thank you. I do love working with the kids. Thank you for sharing that I am good at this, and they do care about doing a good job for me in group. And I have other commitments. Yeah. So even though I'd love to do that for you, I've got some other commitments I have to follow through with. Yeah. And even though that's hard for you to say no because you want to live up to their expectation of you, how they perceive you, you've got to combat that with your own need. Is that helpful?
Yeah. I think I know a lot of people that work in nursing. I know a lot of nurses. I think that happens to them a lot.
True.
Because when you are a good, hardworking nurse and you care about your patients, you'll go without lunch. You won't take a break. And that's a boundary issue.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't see it that way because they're like, well, we're just so busy and we're understaffed, and if I leave for lunch, there's only 3 people on the floor, and it gets.
And corporations abuse that.
Yes.
Because if you will work through your lunch break, that's great for me as the employer. I don't care about your boundary of needing lunch. I'm just going to take advantage of your goodwill towards your other employees.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a boundary issue for your employer, but it's also a boundary issue for you. As an employee, you're saying you're forfeiting
your own needs. Yeah.
And they know that. So you can't play victim to these games when you're an employee, even though you are doing a great job and you don't want to, impose upon your staff or your fellow friends at work. If you need to take a break, take a break. Yeah. If you need lunch, go eat some lunch.
Yeah. And how do you... I'm just asking for the sake of the audience.
Yes, yes.
So, you do decide, you know what, I'm going to take care of myself today. I'm taking my lunch at 11 o'clock. And you go, and then you start doing this regularly, and you're much more happy because you get that 30-minute just break that people so badly need.
Yeah.
To
work with sick people all day.
Regulate your stress and, so... there's always, at least one kind of catty person, usually in most offices there's at least one. So how do they also set the boundary with the person that wants to say, oh, well, so-and-so could help with that, but they're at lunch, or, oh, are you finally back from your lunch break? Nurses tend to get a little bit of retaliation and rudeness from other staff if they take care and tend to their own needs. It's a rough environment sometimes.
You're right. It is rough. Yeah. So what you do is you say, well, I'm going to take care of me. Maybe you should take care of you too.
Ooh. I like that.
I did that once at Macy's. I worked at Macy's for most of my college career, and we had a martyr there, and she was our supervisor, I think, and she was great, but she didn't. A lot of times the managers and the supervisors during the Christmas season would not take breaks, and I surely did. I said I need a break, and I would clock out and walk out, and I was in my 20s, and I knew that I needed to take care of me in order to be a good employee.
Absolutely.
So you just gotta say, maybe you should take a break. Maybe you need a break too.
Yeah. Have you had lunch yet?
Yeah.
You should go do that.
Yeah. So you deflect. A wonderful person at Macy's taught me people skills like that.
Awesome.
He was great. He was always good at attending to and attuning to other people's needs and meeting his own needs. And I loved him for that.
That's great.
Yeah, he taught me that. So, you got to have good boundaries for yourself, and you got to say no to others if you want to have good interactions with people.
Yeah.
You can't fear how others are going to respond to you taking care of you, because this is what I believe. The first law of human nature is I'm selfish, self-promoting, self-gratifying, put a word after it. Okay, well, most people are selfish because they got to tend to their own needs. But the second law of human nature is I need other people to survive.
Yeah.
Okay, I need my tribe. I need others to, collaborate and help us all get our needs met. So in knowing the second law, I'm going to meet the first law of my own self so I can help others meet their need too. But people are always astounded at that first law. They're like, Linda, that's so pessimistic and dark that people are self-absorbed. I'm like, well, you have to be to self-preserve and survive.
Yeah. I think it makes sense.
Yeah. So if you're not well, how are you going to help others be well? Yeah, so you've got to have some boundaries because people will take advantage of you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. To get their needs met. And I've met people that really just don't care. they don't care, and they're going to get their needs met if they have to make you feel like the dung of the earth just so that they can get their needs met. They don't care about you. Like, have you met people like that? Or you just got the sense that they're going to take care of themselves irregardless if they have to stomp on this person, that person, to get what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Those people really turn me off.
Yeah, I avoid them.
Yeah.
Like the plague.
Yeah, because it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, because they don't cooperate, collaborate, or try to meet the needs of the group as a whole. They're more self-absorbed. And we're all somewhat self-absorbed. I'm not saying we're not. It's just those people have the worst boundaries. Just not whatever, So
They'll drain you of your energy.
Yeah.
That's what they'll do.
Yeah. Because they could care less whether you go to lunch or not.
Yeah.
So it's like you could be starving on the side of the road dying, and that particular person would never help you.
No.
Yeah. You got to recognize that in self and in others in order to have good boundaries with people. And one of the gauges I use for people is I say, so when a person made that request, and say you'd already planned your day and they made that request, what did you feel on the inside? And they're like, oh, I felt guilted into it. I felt angry about it. Okay, so that was your boundary gauge.
That little ding, 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 ding. Red flag going off.
Yes. Boundary thermometer. I need to say no. And say no. So next time that you feel that way, when someone makes a request and it's just, you just say no.
Yes.
Yeah. You gotta do a lot of inner speech around that too, though, if you're a people pleaser. Yeah?
Yeah.
What kind of inner speech should you do if you're getting ready to say no to somebody and it's hard for you?
I'll try to be nice at first, but if they're not taking no for an answer, then it's a hard no. My answer is no.
Ooh.
Like,
I like
move on. Like,
I like it.
Yeah, and I mean, I hate being a harsh person, but sometimes you gotta treat the situation like the person that you don't know that called you and is trying to sell you, whatever subscription, then you cannot get rid of them. Like, no thank you, goodbye. End of conversation.
Yeah. You don't want what they're selling.
Exactly.
You don't want to go help someone move today. That wasn't in your plan.
And that's okay. You're not a bad person because of it.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So boundaries in relationships, boundaries in the workplace, setting, there's other types of boundaries that you need to set for yourself too. But we might talk a little bit more about boundaries within self, So was today kind of helpful, I hope, to kind of process when to say yes, when to say no?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Cool. So we just want to say thank you for joining us again here at True Vine Talks with Rachel and Linda. We hope that this helps you guys in learning how to just stand up tall, look people in the eyes and say, no, I'm not doing it. So
be scared, do it anyway.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Bye.